Okay, so now we're going to talk about environment and the impact of environment on your health. And so this is definitely an area that is often overlooked in healthcare practice that I think is really important, and an area that we go over at holistic family practice. So the role of environment. So what is environment when we're talking about it? So environment is your home and various aspects of your home in terms of your relationships with the family in your home, the relationship with your environment, like in terms of, do you have a lot of clutter in your home? Do you have a lot of stuff? Do you have a lot of old things that remind you of other people? When we talk about relationships, not just relationships in the home, but relationships with other people outside of the home, anything that affects your internal environment, such as your lifestyle factors, your food, your nutrition, etc. Even like your time management gets into environment. So pretty much all of the things that impact your parenting, your relationship with your children, your relationship with extended family, all of those things are an aspect of your environment, which can have impact on your health. The other thing that is relative to environment is genetics. So genetics counts for less than 30%. The rest is environmentally driven. So what we put those genes in. So again, that goes back to your lifestyle. How much water do you drink? How much food do you eat? Do you work out? What kinds of workouts do you do? That sort of thing. Do you stretch? Everything to do with your environment in terms of how you maintain your internal environment, and then how that impacts your external environment as well. If you have a lot of unresolved mental or emotional issues, the tendency is your personal environment, meaning your home, has a tendency to recreate that. If you have a lot of baggage and things from the past that you like to hold on to, that can all impact you, especially if you're seeing it on an everyday level. So some of those things that we explore when we're looking at environment are the things that I just mentioned. And we don't always look at them, each individual person, like we're not going down this list like, okay, we're going to check this off. These things just come up organically in the practice. So typically when we start to look at food, then time comes up, and then time comes up, and then relationships come up, and then all of these different things, they just kind of flow. And I think in the beginning it's challenging because so many people are concrete, and they also want to have control. And by control, I mean they want to understand the entire process. So there is a structure to the process of getting well, but there's also an energy to it as well. There's this kind of flow with it. Right. And so in the beginning, a lot of things are going to be coming up, and it's really up to the provider, such as myself or anyone else that's working with me, to really help guide you through that process so that you're able to see. Right. And so sometimes with that, it can be uncomfortable because you're looking at different aspects of yourself in a different light or a different view. And so sometimes that may not necessarily be comfortable. And so sometimes there's some resistance that comes up. So for instance, if you present that you have difficulty time saying no in relationships, and you're not necessarily having healthy boundaries, and that's impacting your health. We have to flush those things out so that you can see those things so that they're no longer impacting you. I've helped a lot of married people and families really gain some better ground and more healthy ground. And I've also helped different partners either decide that this isn't a healthy relationship for themselves, or help them to get to the point where they say, okay, let's strengthen here and let's strengthen there, because this is going to help impact our environment, and this is what's going to help us to continue to work on our own personal health. So these are all things that are very related. Sometimes it's a little ambiguous to be able to see, especially because it's not always a physical thing that you could say, oh, there's this or there's that. And sometimes too, the area of environment comes up later on down the road. Like I've had cases where we've worked together for quite some time, and then when it finally comes up, like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm holding on to, spouses that I've been divorced with or that have passed away, and I'm holding on to all of their things still in our bedroom, right? And so, looking at those things every day is going to impact mental and emotional, physical health. And so we look at all of those things, even though they may not seem related to your physical health, they are all a part of your health. And so we may look at creating healthy boundaries, teaching you healthy boundaries, teaching you how to create and attract healthy relationships. Once you create and attract those relationships, setting healthy boundaries for yourself, not over giving, healing from various traumas in the environment. We may even get into feng shui and recalibrating your home. So there's a lot of different nuances that we can get. We may even evaluate your genetic panel, your raw genetic panel, and look at instabilities in your methylation pathways that we need to support so that your body doesn't continue to create and manifest disease on top of it. There's all kinds of different variables that we look at when we're looking at environment. So it can be super, super general, broad, and also very, very specific depending on the need of the person.